Welcome back to Morgan's video blog, Morgan's online blog in video format. As always, feel free to subscribe, and if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer, ask away. But today I'm here to share with you the 4 components necessary to bring a scene to life. Now, when writing, we all strive to bring our scenes to life, but it's easy to forget a component. One can have the most involved and choreographed scene full of action and danger, but it won't leave your readers on the edge of their seats if it's missing the other 3 components. One can have the most intricately described setting that the audience can fully envision down to the taste of the stew. But if it's missing a component, the audience won't care. So what are these components I'm talking about? What components are necessary to bring a scene to life? First off, the active components. These are the stage directions. Who is moving, who is speaking, what's going on, and who's crying. When you're laser focused on plot and action, sometimes scenes can be reduced to just this, the bare bones. When you're translating a D&D kind of game into a novel, often this is where you start. Off the top of my head, here's an example I'll build on. John opened the door and Susan said hi through her sobs. So, 2, what's after the active components? The physical components. What does the room look like? What do the people look like? What sort of faces are they making? For those with a cinematic bent or screenwriting background, it can be easy to fall into the trap of leaving scenes with just active and physical components while neglecting the next 2 components. For our sample, let's add some physical components to it. John peered through the window framing his oak door and spied a familiar silhouette. As he opened the door, he caught a glimpse of tear-streaked cheeks glistening in the light streaming out from his foyer. Susan shivered under his gaze and then, with a snuffle, finally spoke. Hi? So now we have the physical and the active components. What's next? The sensory components. Ignoring one's vision, what other senses come into play? This is where smells and tastes and background noises and touch and texture come into play. For those who write lyrically, it can be easy to lose oneself in the senses and forget about the plot. So let's go back to our example. John peered through the window framing his oak door and spied a familiar silhouette. As he jiggled the door bolt free, a whiff of her old vanilla conditioner greeted him, and he caught a glimpse of tear-streaked cheeks glistening in the light streaming out from his foyer. The cool autumn wind gusted with the telltale signs of an approaching storm, while Susan shivered under his gaze. Then, with a snuffle, she finally spoke. Hi. We're not done yet. What is the final component to bring this all together? Why do we care about these characters? The emotional component. You can narratively evaluate and tell about emotions, or you can invoke the essence of emotion through physical responses in characters' body or body language. My characters like to live in their heads, which can end up with me narrating feelings instead of showing them. It's an easy trap. Let's go back to our example. John peered through the window framing his oak door and spied a familiar silhouette he'd never expected to see again. There I go telling. With a gasp, his heart started to race and his palms grew clammy. Showing. How long had it been? As he jiggled the door bolt free, a whiff of her old vanilla conditioner greeted him, and he caught a glimpse of tear-streaked cheeks glistening in the light streaming out from his foyer. He had to clench the door frame to resist the urge to take her into his arms. The cool autumn wind gusted with the telltale signs of an approaching storm, while Susan shivered under his gaze. She stared at his feet, hugging herself, and then with a sniffle, she finally spoke. "Hi?" Now, I know my examples were a little clunky. I don't think I ever actually described what my characters look like, but the gist should be obvious. A scene is best when it includes all the ingredients. Are there any components I left out? Anything I missed? Please let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you for tuning in, and join me next week for more writing tips and writerly musings.